Welcome back. This session we are going to look about reading of the data from the database that we have created in the previous sessions, and we will continue learning from the basics and to the advanced stage of the uh, data read statements. With that started, let's get started. So as you know, there is an employee table in the database. So we have very simple employee. So I'm just trying to fetch all the employees that we have in the database table. The table name is employee table. So we have an employee ID, employee name, designation, department, and there are total 10 records that we could see in the database table, which is employee. And select basically reads the content or the data out of the database, and the from is actually represents what kind of from where it has to read the data, and star represents it's like I would like to read all the content out of that particular database table. So if you want to read only the specified elements or specified columns in the database, you can still mention what is the I would like to read employee ID and employee name for one of my use case. So in that case you can always set that employee name and employee ID, so that only those specific rows will be read out of the database table. Select statement is not only used for the reading of the data out of the database, it can also be used for invoking the functions or the stored procedures or whatever the other different categories that we have in the MySQL database. So for example, if you look into the select now, this is actually select now is actually gives the current time of the database, current time of that particular database that we have. Or we can also use in concatenating of the statements that we have. So for example, if I have a John D, I want to concatenate John D, I can use the concat function which is provided by the MySQL for the John D concatenation. So whenever you concatenating the data, when you are doing with this concat function, if you see the column is actually came as a concat of like this John Doe, right? So if you want to give the alias name, okay, so you can also give that. So what we mentioned in the next statement is select concat John D, okay, as full name. So the as full name is actually going to display as a column name for that particular the data that is getting concatenated. So apart from that, so basically you also have about something like total employees. So if you want to know the how many records that you have in that employee database, so what we have is I have used the count star function, right? So the count star function, and I am just saying that as an employee and from the employee table. So you can use the select statement to invoke to fetch the data out of the table, and you can also use the data call the functions. You can also call the functions along with the database tables as well. I mean to say you can combine both of them and try to invoke the queries that are required for our need, right? With that said, I will stop over here and I'll try to come back with the next level of SQL queries. Thank you.